Make it right, you know.
Yo, we going live.
Are we already in there?
Yeah, man, it's going.
Well, here's that.
Hey, it just happens like that. So if you guys are tuning in, it's your boy B. Willis. I'm here with my co-host, Priscilla Z.
Hey everybody, nice to see you. And guess who's here?
Thrett Brown for the record.
Thrett Brown for the record.
You know, we in there, man.
No, but on a serious note, we're just going live tonight to kind of just give you guys some information as to what Pi Talk Community Connections is all about. This is 3 of the 5-person team. It's kind of like some Avengers. We're all peers. We all have lived experience. And we all have unique reasons and unique skill sets of what we decided to come together in this business endeavor to bring to the community a lot of different things. And so right now we're going to share some of those things with you. First is some introductions. Ladies first.
I'm I'm Priscilla Z. Right now, actually, it's kind of interesting, but my main issue currently is that I am a representative of myself, of course, and my lived experience, and that's fueling a fire to get me here to connect with all of you. But the only way that the community connections are going to work is if we get you guys to have a little fire under your tail as well. So everybody out there has lived experience, and we want to make sure that we're incorporating that in our to-do list as well. I am a certified anger management specialist instructor currently, which is awesome. It's a great new advancement. Aside from that, I'm working towards peer counselor, which is going to be a great new add-in. And then I've got some other things coming down the way, including some domestic violence awareness and some advocacy for those people who accidentally get lost in the system, even though sometimes they might have been the victim to begin with. It's a confusing line out there, and the systems and structures are kind of made to suck us in and keep us down. That's something that I'm not really interested in. I like the concept of creating our own narrative, this pie, pursuing internal evolution. The only way that we can do that in the highest regard that we deserve to live here on Earth is if we start giving ourselves some more credit than what anybody tells us we deserve on Earth. Okay, we get to design our own narrative, and that's what I'm all about.
100%. Now, first thing I'm going to do is remove this because this is not my actual face. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, remove
We're going to slide this over here real quick.
That's hilarious.
And this is me. So I do want to say I appreciate, being a part of the team. B came to me with the opportunity to be associated with something I feel like is very conducive and very beneficial to community. Shout out to No Chill Jill for introductions to B and connecting with Priscilla as well. So what we are offering the community, I know for me personally, I run the youth program in the city of Tacoma. I've been running it for the last 10 years, a little over a decade now. Young Businessmen of Washington. We focus on entrepreneurship development, gun and youth violence prevention, and entrepreneurship. When we say entrepreneurship development, we structure that in a way to where young adults between the ages of 13 and 24, a lot of them believe that from 13 to 17 that they're not eligible to start a company. But we like to encourage them that you are your own business, so make executive decisions on your personal life and apply these things and methods to yourself. And so everything that we learn as adults is an opportunity for young people to also learn these skill sets for peer counseling and, just advocacy work in general. That way, in the absence of adults, young adults could also provide these same services and skill sets to their peers.
Absolutely.
So it's a trickle-down effect. And, I'm big on personal and business branding. And so that's one of the things that I like to bring to the table. And especially personal branding because, if people don't want to be in business in general, again, you are your most important and most valued commodity, product. And,
you and the INC.
Yeah, very much. You know what I'm saying? So get that together and, continue to do what we do. So, again.
Yeah, I'm like another thing in terms of like this pie concept, I know for me personally, is that when I got to see new dreams be achieved by leaders that were in my life, I got to see things that I didn't think were possible.
Right.
So it sounds like that's what you're doing. You're bringing a lot of leadership through example and showing kids that we get to dream bigger than what we're told.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No doubt about it.
So again, what is Pi Talk Community Connections? We're a newly formed LLC. based out of Thurston County. We'll be serving Pierce County, Mason County. And the idea is essentially justice-impacted families need advocacy, recovery coaching, peer counseling, reentry mentorship, budgeting and entrepreneurship over here. And we have the Anger Management Specialist 1 certification through NAMA, which allows us to provide anger management at a lower rate, making it more affordable for people that get told they have to do it, but their insurance doesn't cover it. Parenting. I'm also a certified positive Indian parent instructor. I'm a certified peer counselor, a recovery life coach through CCAR. And also, I have lived experience. My specialty and my passion is reentry because my experience coming through the system started at 12 years old. And had I had advocacy, a mentor, somebody that taught me things that I was able to move forward with in life and not just more of this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is who you are, this is how it's going to be, you're going to forever do these things. And when you're indoctrinated with something like that, it's hard to break out of that cycle. It's hard to get out of a narrative that's placed on you, that you're lived in, that is systemically, forwarded and pushed, and the system is not designed for somebody like me to be successful or to get out of once I get in. So, post-reunification, family navigation and parenting, those are the things that we're really going to focus on. And family reunification advocacy, and I can speak on that in a lot of ways, and I know Priscilla can too, especially with
absolutely. One thing that this brings to mind right now, and something I learned in my own experience just recently, but everybody is given a case number. You're given this case number, and this case number is how we're going to identify you as a human being. There is no picture of you. There is no photograph of you and your children doing the things that you love, the things that you actually thrive and strive to achieve. All you are is a number, which makes you a statistic. And that's something that I think we want to start taking away from this equation. I'm not interested in knowing what case number you are. I'm interested in knowing who you are and how we can make other people see you. Recently, just in a little sharing in a peer group and a support and parenting class, a woman, she described a situation that she was in, and it just wasn't feasible for her, even though she was legally obligated to do something. It wasn't emotionally correct for her to leave her child for the amount of time that they requested of her. So what she did is she negotiated. She said, hey man, I can't give you 48 hours because then I have to give up my child for 48 hours. And there is nobody to take my child for 48 straight hours. But I can break that up for you. I can make smaller doses. I could give you my time like you want me to serve, but you're going to have to see me and you're going to have to see my child's needs. And so sometimes when we're in these systems and structures, they're just labeling you as a criminal, and then they're prosecuting you and giving you a determination of how to live. But they're not considering that you have children, that you have family, and people that love you that are still involved in your life. And they deserve to be also recognized in the situations as we negotiate what we deserve.
Could I add something to that too? Earlier, Priscilla, you were saying, like, in a nutshell, how the systems, it also, for people that's uninformed or uneducated about these processes and the things that, they do have access at, systems do want to separate, keep the frustration and confusion going, because the separation always keep people coming back to them to some form or some degree of whatever the case may be. And so that's why creating a system like PI, it's an opportunity, for people to, one, see relatability.
Yeah.
And it's not just people that have studied and read through textbooks and went to college and got master's and doctorate degrees. It's people who've actually lived this lifestyle and circumstances and overcame it and started to say, okay, so what is the new narrative? The new narrative is to say that instead of separating and splitting these processes abroad, we want to create a collective interest space, like a one-stop shop, and that wraparound services in one space that's less confusing. The process is still demanded of a person. You still got to go through the motions. You still got to do what you got to do. However, we want to make it more convenient for you and less stressful as possible, and provide you the same information, but a little more structure for a person to be able to successfully go through that whole the process in general. So I appreciate you saying that earlier, how it's designed to split and separate and confuse.
Absolutely. When we're talking about like reunification, okay, so you basically like, and I worked with other families who had their children taken because of CPS, and then they got to reunify. I myself have had my own endeavors that I've had to learn from, and what I'm noticing is when reunification happens, it's almost like a bird getting kicked out of the nest. You did all your stuff, you processed your paperwork, now you have your children back with you, good luck. Well, what does that do for anybody? You know, like there has to be more education, there has to be more community support and community connection. One thing that we're lacking in today's society, and you can ask any mother that you know, go to any mom, even the one who's the most supportive mother that you know that has a great father in the picture, has family support. Ask them how lonely they truly feel when it comes to raising their babies, okay? The tribal aspect of our community has been broken down. We are told to stay 6 feet away from one another and to make sure to put our heads down and be quiet when it comes to controversy. So the way that we are trying to re-engage with each other is to lift our heads up, to see that everybody is in a need, because there absolutely is one, and to reach out a hand and offer, how can we figure this out? Because the solutions are not there right now. I know that there's so many professionals in the industry that do not have the tools to offer us. It's not their fault, okay? It's not anybody's fault. It's the fact that as a community, we have not been taught or have the drive anymore to connect as a tribe. And I find that to be the most valuable thing in order to succeed. There's no way that you can succeed on your own. You have to have others to lean on.
That's the beauty of PI, which is Pursue Internal Evolution. But the PI Talk Community Connections is about creating a space where you can unfortunately get through these court proceedings that, whether it was your fault or not your fault, whether it was a one-time incident, whatever led you into this judicial entanglement that is now requiring you to do an evaluation, get a parenting class or get an anger management class, and you get sent all these different directions. We want to create a space where you have people that have been through it and that are passionate about post-reunification parenting, because there's a lot of parenting classes out there, and there's a lot of good parenting classes. There's a lot of good stuff you can look up on YouTube, but it's very rare that you find post-reunification, post-incarceration, and post-reentry, like reunited families after a set amount of time, and then dealing with those pieces that go with that.
Yeah.
That is what we're going to specialize in when it comes to our particular parenting classes that are keyed in on those particular situations. It's people coming home from prison and fighting to get their kids back. People that have been, something happened with addiction, something happened with a behavior, and the police got involved, and the courts get involved, and family court get involved, and all these things. And a lot of times, and I don't mean this to take any shots at any particular organization or law firm, but lawyers are not as helpful as people think they are when it comes to these situations.
Right.
People I dealt with in my professional life on a regular basis, every single week, do not get answers from their lawyers. It's weeks and weeks and weeks before they meet them, or they're meeting up with them and they're talking to them the day of a court proceeding, so they don't have a real understanding or a real advocate, whether they're paying this lawyer or whether this lawyer was given to them by the courts. And so we are coming as an advocacy piece. We are coming as a one-stop shop. You show up to court a month after your situation started, you would have already done, some recovery coach sessions with a peer counselor, some parenting courses, anger management. Even if it's not required, if these are things that you want to partake in, we're certified and we're able to give that to you.
And, I think that there's, this natural instinct in our body. So, there's a visual to think about. So, a person goes into the water, okay, and the water is deep, all right? They are going to try to swim. Even if they're not that great at swimming, they are going to do everything within their might to try to stay up top because breath is vital, okay? Nobody is in these systems and structures sinking under the water, not trying to paddle to the top, okay? So now, instead of people paddling alone or not knowing how to stroke, we've got some ideas or concepts, and unfortunately, it's from the school. It's not even unfortunately; it's a fortunate thing in a lot of ways. Depends on how you look at it. But the school of hard knocks, okay, that concept, like that's real, all right? You can't pay for that. You can't apply for a scholarship, all right? It just comes naturally. It's
Oh, you pay for it.
yeah, in your way, you do for
We pay
sure.
for it. We definitely pay for
But
it.
but it's one of those things that like not everybody gets to go to the University of the School of Hard Knocks. There's certain people out there that have, and those people with that lived experience are going to teach people how to even just doggy paddle to the top, because we all naturally want to survive. Nobody is in the system or structures wanting to fail. Even some of the worst people out there, if you get down to it, you can find a little squishy conversation with them where they're sweet on the heart and that their true soul wants to succeed. They want their families to work. They just don't have the tools, and they've never had the advocacy.
And I want to add too, and it's very key for people to take in strong consideration the paralysis, consistency paralysis, mental paralysis, opportunity paralysis, especially when you come from a culture of brokenness, not knowing what direction, how to get through it. The thing that's important for people to know when we talk about PI as an entity in operation, as a family, is that you don't have to feel afraid to connect. Once you really realize that this is lived experience, there's no blaming, there's no judgment, there's no non-relatability, This is people that are saying, if you sit and talk with us long enough, you're going to be like, you guys, you understand? We're like, we do understand. So don't feel ashamed. You don't have to blast your information or talk to us on the surface. Inbox. Go to an email. Just reach us in whatever favor you feel like it would be more beneficial for you. But just make sure that you reach out. If you feel that you've never had an outlet or an opportunity to do so, this is an opportunity to do it. You know me, you know Priscilla, you know B, and the rest of the team that you guys will be meeting here soon. You guys know us, and if we're relatable, share it to people that you do know. Share with family members that's going through certain circumstances, and they don't trust people, because we do got trust issues a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But lived experience, and we've been out here, now we're in here, providing opportunities and stuff. So don't be afraid to step up, because we're going to open the doors. And matter of fact, the doors is already open.
Yeah.
The doors is open.
Come on in the door. You feel me?
The doors are open. At the end of the day, like, our prerequisite for us even coming together was that lived experience piece. We're all certified peer counselors, recovery coaches. We've got incarceration history. We've got CPS involvement in our personal histories. We are experienced through the experience of actually going through it, not going to college like Thrett was saying and just reading about how to tell somebody how to do a thing that they've never done or been through in their life. Yeah. We have lived experience. Anybody that we contract with, anybody that we agree to do business with, our business partners, our community partners that have agreed to connect with us and attach themselves to us are also with lived experience. We are attached to nonprofits. We are attached to reputable businesses in the community that want to perpetuate what it is that we're bringing, because when we have these conversations behind closed doors, everybody agrees to one thing, that the need is there. The relatability with us being the ones to provide this service is now here. We're available for you. If I did nothing else with my life but help somebody get their kids back, or help somebody just understand the system that they're going through from a point of like empathy and understanding, like true understanding.
Yeah.
You're not a number to me.
Yeah.
You're not a case.
Wow.
You're not a client. You're a peer.
Yeah.
You're somebody that I could look to and be like, yo, I've been through this. We're not going to let the courts do that. We're not going to let your lawyer just treat you any kind of way. Here's some steps you can take to advocate for yourself. And I'll be there in court with you to prove that you are taking these steps that you say you're taking. Thrett will be there with you. Priscilla will be there with you. We have 2 other team members, and we have all the resources in the community that are also wanting to see this type of change happen in our community.
Yeah, I'm a woman of heart. Like, if you meet me in person, I'll do anything for you. I don't have to know you. You could even be the worst of the worst, and we could have a talk. I'll still probably help you out, And what I just really loved is that, Thrett just said that the door is already open. And just a humble share. I was once in a professional's office. I had paid him money to help me through therapy, okay? And he's working with me about my issues. And after I shared my heartfelt concepts and the things that I was experiencing, which were pretty brutal at the time, he said, yeah, that reminds me of a movie. Yeah, and I thought, oh, what a privilege to be able to associate that with a movie, okay? Well, I just lived that last night, all right? And when we think about this, I'm like, this is not something that I'm gonna be like, I can relate to this because of a hypothetical thing that I saw Hollywood glamorize, okay? If I don't personally have the resource, I have people around me who do have the resources. And it's okay. Got a case of the humans again, right?
It happens.
But yeah, if I don't have the resources myself, I have other people that do have those resources, and you're never gonna be made to feel uncomfortable in the things that you share is if we don't know that you're a real heart-beating human, and that what you experience is legit. It's not just some glamorous story that you're sharing for attention, that was actually your lived experience. And I want to honor that personally, but I know that my team members also have that heartfelt love for everybody too, and it's why we're doing what we're doing.
I want to add one thing real quick.
I had a bunch of things, bro.
Okay,
This is our platform.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about this the most, as we're sitting here talking, under the circumstances, under our own underlying traumas, the thing that we've already overcame and still overcoming, is that as people that are looking for opportunities to grow, that whole phrase, you grow through what you go through, you go through what you grow through. However, one of the things that I realize that will take place is that in finding these solutions and overcoming these certain barriers, you will start to find joy. You will start to find happiness. You will start to find your sense of humor. And you realize that as long as the tools and opportunities are available for you, as we move further and further into your journey of accomplishments, then that's one of the biggest solutions I feel like people are lacking, is that a sense of joy in these circumstances. Once we can find a sense of happiness throughout all of this madness, the journey and the process has become way more doable.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it becomes more doable and more manageable because you start to find your strength, and you start to find your confidence, you start to find your self-identity. And it's trickled from adults, parents, also to young people and kids, so nobody's excluded. If you are in need of an opportunity to grow and challenge the system that oppresses you for whatever reason, man, show up. And if you're an organization or a business or an entity of any kind that want to be part of whatever it is going over here, make sure that you just shoot out and shoot the information to see how you can be more involved with what it is that we all can offer to the community, because we're open. It's a collective interest, and if you don't feel like you can associate with something, give us a shot and see if you can associate with us and take your slice of the pie.
I love it. I was like, what's really cool is like this actual like association with community, and the fact that we want to be a resource to stop the shame and guilt cycles. I love what you just said. Like there's some pretty terrible stuff that's gone down in my last year of life, and I'm smiling about it right now because like I can see the joy and the development in my growth and my journey, and I can see a value or a purpose to the lessons. I can always find those blessings in my lessons. And I believe truly in my heart that Pi is here to support that concept. And like the guilt and the shame cycle is what perpetuates more abuse. It's what perpetuates more addiction. It perpetuates the systems and structures that were meant to make us low and keep us failing. And this concept of developing your own narrative, you can do that with a smile. You really can. You can develop a whole new game for yourself that has nothing to do with the shame game that's been labeled onto who you are, because you're not that. It was just a label.
A whole new world.
Yeah, right.
That's a fantastic point.
Right. When we talk about recovery, right, the first thing that comes to people's mind is that's for addiction. That's for alcoholics. Wrong.
Right.
Wrong.
Very wrong.
Recovery is for anybody who's experienced any form of trauma and has to heal from it.
Yeah.
Grief, a breakup, a job loss,
Mm-hmm.
anything that is shocking to your soul, to your body, to your mind, and to your quality of life. If you've ever been kicked out of a place, that's traumatic. If you've ever lost a job and had no idea what you're going to do for funds, and you have kids, and all those things are traumatic experiences. And the recovery process is about intentionally navigating that trauma, which leads me to a blueprint to recovery, which is a philosophy that we've developed around recovery. It is the way to recover by giving yourself the power through accountability.
Yeah.
Owning your own recovery, owning your own accountability, giving yourself permission to take control of your behavior, of your situations, of what you think about in the past, and giving yourself the power and the tools. And we have support groups to help you simmer down some of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Simmer down some of that shame, some of that guilt, especially some of that external blame. Take accountability. Become who you want to become. Write your own narrative. Be your best self. We're trying to empower that in any and everybody that wants to listen. That is why me and Priscilla started Pie Talk Podcast. Tomorrow, if you're interested, we go through the entire philosophy of what Blueprint to Recovery is all about, what it means, and we will continue to bring you episodes, whether they're about parenting, anger management. And again, even though it's called anger management, and you constantly hear those two words together, we also believe the theory that we don't really manage anger. Anger is a thing just like rain and tornado. It's a natural event. It's going to come and it's going to go. What we can, however, manage is our reaction to our experience with anger. So we are about aggression, suppression. You know, these are the things that we're using our anger management certified specialist CERT to do, is create curriculums and create programs that you get to participate in the creation of and then the application of, so that you can be better at dealing with your experience of having anger arise in you, checking your temperature and being able to realize when you're getting a little warm, how can you get those degrees back down? How can you not be reactive in parenting, in a relationship? How can you not cuss that boss out on that day and regrettably you lose that job, and then again you're going through a traumatic experience? You know, these are all the things that Pie Talk Community Connections, as an organization, as a company, and as individuals, like with hearts and experience and children. I have 7 children. I have 3 grandbabies. You know, I am such a big-hearted human being that some of the things I went through in my life up to this point, I don't even look at and think, like, I don't feel good about. But at the same time, I know that they molded the fire that I went through, created the weapon that I am today. The weapon against T.
Yeah.
The weapon against shame. The weapon against holding on to that negative narrative. I'm not a felon. Yes, I have a felony or a few in my record, but I do not identify as a felon, as an ex-criminal.
Yeah.
I don't identify that way. You know?
I wanted one thing, because I can hear somebody saying, well, my experiences is so traumatic, because I hear that. We hear people say that their circumstances are a lot different from everybody else's, and they feel that
And that's
trauma,
valid.
it's very much valid. So we're not saying one trauma is worse than the next or one is less than the other. What we are saying is that if you are stuck in a situation, like B was saying, it's accepting, acknowledging these circumstances you're going through, because regardless of how severe, how traumatic it may seem, once you grasp an identity of what that is, then you can start to manage whatever it is. It's not about singling out or comparisons to who's worse or not. It's about understanding what your situation is. What are you in right now? And I believe wholeheartedly about acceptance. The moment that we can accept whatever it is, then we can manage with it. It's when we start to deny that something's happening, we start to deny that ain't nothing really going on, then it always remains. Now, still learning asks, what time is that going to be tomorrow?
Drops at 6 a.m.
It drops at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And so the podcast drops on YouTube. And then we have our producer that helps us with the uploads. It'll go to your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, your iHeart, all that maybe later in the week if he's on top of it. As soon as that finished premiering on YouTube, then you'll be able to catch it on your other podcast platforms. I try to keep up on those things. You know, my producer is human. He does a lot of music for other people. But this mission, he actually does this stuff for us for free. So that's another thing. You know, when you see that GoFundMe come across your screen and we're trying to ask for funds to help us perpetuate, we need to develop our curriculum. We need to create our workbooks. We need to be able to have childcare for when Priscilla does these. Like, this is all out of our pocket. We are not a fastly funded organization by any means. So we would greatly appreciate the community support in that regard.
Yeah.
If you just want to help that way, then look for the GoFundMe. We'll create one soon and just contribute to what we're trying to put out there into the community, because we are here to help. We're all passionate about it, and this can go a really, really long way.
Yeah, it was like, it's so funny. I'm sitting in my head here of the concept of pie, but it's not perfect internal ending. You know, it's pursue internal evolution. So like, we're pursuing something that's evolving, and that is forever. That's going to keep on going. And everybody's participation on their own level is valid and beautiful. I like what you were saying. Like, I'm not in some trauma competition.
Right.
No.
I'm not trying to say that I dupe you, because actually what's really crazy is trauma equates to shock.
Yes.
That's it. So like, something that happened to me, I could shock you with just telling you the story. I could traumatize you by just sharing. Where to me, something in that same caliber could happen, and I might not be shocked anymore because I've already seen it.
Right.
I've already lived it, you know? But that doesn't mean that, like, I'm better at this than you. It actually means you just got shocked by my story. Like, that's it. Like, and now we got a new thing to pursue and a new thing to evolve with one another, and trying to figure out a place to be safe. One thing I've noticed about human beings, and I've actually dealt with a lot of like suicidal thoughts within my own lifetime, and I've been talking to a lot of people that they've dealt with suicidal thoughts, and even my mother, you know, unfortunately, she battled with a lot of this throughout her lifetime. And what it really boils down to, self-deprecation, self-sabotage, self-harm, like that stuff that we do on accident in life, and it's because we just don't feel safe being humans on Earth, okay? Like, it is difficult to have a case of the humans, okay? It's a real big deal, and we all came down here to try to level up in one way or another, and everybody's on their own game, okay? We all dropped in. We're all in this really cool pad play to experience everything that we're experiencing with one another. And everybody's situation is beautiful and divine, and it's perfect in its own way. And we can all build and grow off of how everybody is pursuing their own internal evolution. That concept of community connections is where we're all going to link in together, and we all get to advance from each other's experience. So, like, B has his own lot of it. Thrett has his own lot of it. I've barely known them, and through just them sharing humbly their vulnerable experiences, I'm sitting there writing notes. Oh, crap, I could do that. Oh, wow, that's neat. You know, and then of course, I have my own boat that I'm trying to make float too. And so it's kind of cool, because it's not just about like you as the individual and like you worried about just being the worst of the worst or even the best of the best. It's about us all getting together and finding more solutions, resources, tools, and then showing it in examples and being the advocates we all wanted our whole lives. Like, we've all been begging and praying for somebody to step in and help us out, you know, and now we have the opportunity to do it.
And just think about the, you know, perpetuating progress through sharing and paying it forward. Thrett, ever since Jill, one of my very best friends, introduced me to him, he became a mentor to me. I met Priscilla, and instantly we became in that mentor-student type relationship, and now we're all mentoring each other in different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much.
You know, there's things I'm teaching Thrett, Thrett's teaching Priscilla, and now that they're connected,
Right.
there's going to be more growth
Mm-hmm.
all the time. Every time I meet someone new, I try. I make it a point to learn something from that person, to learn from their experience, to learn from their thoughts. And I have a completely open mind. I'm non-judgmental.
Yeah.
No matter where somebody comes from, how they identify, where they've been, where they're going. I'm curious. because I really believe that curiosity fosters connection, right? And I'm always curious about somebody's perspective, about what somebody knows to be true for them. If you believe that you can recover from whatever the thing is, then that is true for you. And that becomes your reality if you make it your reality. Pursue internal evolution. That is what we're doing. We're perpetuating a space where we can hold up a mirror for you to give yourself the credit that you need to move forward. Give yourself permission to let go of things. And just become your best self. It's okay to love yourself. Like people will say, oh, he's conceited. Oh, he loves himself. And they will try to twist it so that somehow loving yourself is negative. But it's not. In no way, shape, or form is it at all negative. In fact, it doesn't make sense to profess love for somebody else but not be willing to profess it for yourself. Where are you getting it from to give if you don't possess it?
And how do you not identify what it looks like when it's being given to you if you don't self-reflect on yourself as well? And I'm glad you said what it was too, because as I watch these two grow in their space, that's inspirational. That's leadership, and I'm able to see something. I don't have to be in your shoes or live your life.
No.
I can just see that you found yourself in a circumstance and you figured out a pattern to overcome that and grow out of it. And so when I see a person growing out of or overcoming their challenges, that inspires me. I don't need motivation no more. Now, it might start with motivation for people to get you started or help you, like the mirror, point the mirror at you. So this motivation just help you see who you're dealing with and what you need to work through. Now, once you overcome those things, and I don't like motivation no more, I thrive off of inspiration. Inspiration is when I see a person overcoming their own adversity, it inspires me to overcome my adversity. When I can see somebody breaking through their own barriers, that inspires me to break through my barriers. Now, the motivation for myself is to make sure that I, one, identify my issues, and two, be willing to take the steps that help me get through those spaces. And if I can't do it alone, I'm able to look aside somebody and say, damn, boom, leveling up. They're doing their thing. And they don't need to just coach me, because in the absence of a coach, then what do a person do?
100%.
Nothing. You fall apart and you don't have that drive no more because you constantly need to cheerleader. We'll cheerlead just until you get a space where you can start cheerleading yourself, and then you see it be perpetual and we're able to grow.
I love that you just said this. I've been legit having this conversation with myself right now and all sorts of other people, because I'm involved in tons of programs, tons of resources. Like, I have filled my week consistently, keeping my mind busy with all sorts of people that can mentor, teach me, give me books, show me the way, right? But do you know who I have to talk to all damn day?
Straight up.
Do you know who I have to own up to? It's this right here. It's my head. It's right between my two eyes. That's the only person at the end of the day that I have to have true conversations about what my purpose is here on earth. Now, was I having those conversations before I had the mentors and the advocacy? No, I wasn't. I was scared to death to talk to myself about the truth, to actually admit what was really going down or what was really hurting in my spirit. And then when I realized that I deserved to feel it, to work through it, and to go past it, I got to have even more in-depth conversations with myself about the reality that I want and the reality that I'm going to perpetuate. So I think that's a really beautiful point right there, Thrett, because all I want to do, I don't want you calling me up every day. That's not going to work, okay? I'm never going to fix it all for you. But I definitely want to spark some joy and some self-love so that you can have the conversations with yourself that you need to have in order to give yourself the narrative that you truly deserve. That's what I'm about. I want to perpetuate everybody to feel safe on earth. That's it.
100%. And one of the greatest phrases I've heard a person say in my whole life is, what if it's me? I was like, dang. I say, common denominator. You can't go from this state, this city, this situation, and always have the same outcomes.
Yeah.
This person don't like me. This isn't. And the person said, what if it's me?
Yeah.
And I think that we all need to do that. If we all take the time, if you're always constantly into a situation that doesn't seem to be in your favor, it doesn't seem to go right, it doesn't work out, or it always falls apart, ask yourself, what if it's me? Am I applying myself enough? Am I being as serious with myself about my circumstances as I should be? Am I in denial? Am I always making excuses? Because I can't make an excuse for you. I can't make an excuse for nobody up here, but I could say that if you want my opinion about something, I'm gonna say that you're probably not taking yourself as serious as you should, because now in life there's a lot of resources, and now in this space you can take any slice of this pie and it'll be fulfilling. You know, if this piece don't work, if the pie is multifaceted, you know, you can pull from it and consume what you need to better you on your journey. And we're here to chef it up, mix it up. Just share with us what your situation is, and we're gonna make sure that we can mix you what you need to have.
You know, we can eat the whole pie.
Right,
Crust.
like
You can just
from back, right. Whichever one, but it's here
all
available for
goodness.
you. Yeah, very much.
So,
This reminds me of something my dad used to say. My dad was serving up pie, and we'd even be stuffed on it. We'd be like, "Could you stop? I don't want any more," you know. And he used to say something, and I thought his pie was nasty. I was not ever going to eat it, okay? And he would say that you are your best counselor. And I remember thinking, no, man, that ain't it. Like, and so then I went on my journey, and I read all the books, and I met all the people, and I went to the therapist and all that stuff. But man, you can sit in front of anybody and you can lie. You can sit in front of the best therapist in town, and you can tell them what they want. You go to your doctor and you can tell them, I'm in a clean bill of health, but you know damn well that you ate some dirty pie earlier. So like, it's really about, you are your best counselor. And I finally am consuming that piece of pie. I think it's a lovely piece. But that's what we want. We want you to realize that you are your best advocate. You are your best therapist, and you are going to be able to unlock and open the doors to your own success as long as you are willing to.
It counts as self-discovery. We're not here to figure out anything for you.
Nope.
We're here to listen to you, listen to yourself, and say, are you hearing what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
You heard it, you'd be like, oh,
Sound good.
dang, that is true. If I just, what could you do better? Well, if I was able to do this and that, so are you going to do that and that to see? And then once you start to take those initiatives and those steps toward the ideas that because you already know the answer. Like I said, within every problem, you find your solution. You know, within every sense of poverty, in poverty, you find your answers to growing and becoming more wealthy. Every circumstance you got has an outcome for your betterment. You just have to understand. There was a phrase that the dude had. There was a man stuck in a hole. And people was walking by. He was like, hey, is anybody up there? Can you guys help me? People kept walking past. Hey, man, he heard somebody else. Hey, can somebody help me? The third guy walked by. He said, hey, man, I need help. I'm stuck in this hole. So the dude jumped in the hole with him and said, I can help you. He said, well, how are you going to help me if you jump in the hole? He said, I was in this hole before. So, circumstances, lived experience.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that just because we done it, you can do it. I'm saying if you want to do it, you can do it. Any success has a recipe. And as long as you put the ingredients in the recipe, the cake is going to come out. Now, if you misstep and you don't add the ingredients that's supposed to be there, the process, then it won't turn out the way. But if you take your own advice and you become more consistent with yourself or change or evolving, become more consistent with evolving, because we don't want to change nobody. We want you to be yourself and become the better version. And through involving yourself and making those dedicated, committed circumstances for yourself, you'll find your answer, man, 100%.
you are the answer.
You are the answer. Shout out to that.
Yes.
Shout out to that.
It's already in you.
Amen.
It's already in you. And like you were saying, when it comes to that peer counseling, it's about person-centered. You're motivated, but really, you can also be your own inspiration.
Sure.
I can share my story with you, and you can say, wow, like you went through all that, you survived that, and you changed your life around. And I tell people all the time, I'm the same me I was when I was committing crimes.
Yeah.
I just changed my priorities.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I changed my priorities, and I focused more on things that that I could keep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're in the drug game and you're doing these things, someone come take all that.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Ashley Marie. I appreciate you for loving these podcasts.
That's the best.
Oh, shout out. Thank you.
I was like, the thing that B was just touching on is currency, you know, and it's like he has a certain amount of currency within his life. We all do. And we have all thrown it in to certain parts of our life, and then we saw the investment, and then we saw the outcome. And so you still have your same amount of currency every day, and now you got to pivot your currency and see where you want to spend it. And I mean, I would invest in self-worth, self-esteem, self-progression, those sorts of things. And that currency is going to make you an even fuller person. What's really interesting is I think about self, right? And this concept of being selfish. And in my life, when I was struggling and self-destructing, I wasn't being selfish, actually. I was giving it away to everybody. I was letting everybody step on me. I was the best little doormat in town. And right now, I'm a whole different fluffy new carpet. And everybody got to take off your shoes before you come in here, okay? Like, it's a different game. And my best mentor in life is absolutely continuously shamed. I mean, unreal shame for being selfish, okay? But this girl is all about loving herself, and then because of that, she can actually help other people. Like, she actually creates change in her just example, just showing who she is. She doesn't even have to do hard work. Matter of fact, that girl is leveled up. So it's my sister Betty. I love her so much. But
shout out Betty.
Oh, Betty, man. I'm alive because she made me realize that it was up to me to keep myself alive. Yes, totally. But this girl right now, she has gone so far into her understanding of self that right now she does not even have to speak. She can choose silence, and she can change the whole game. So, like, she has done leveled up to a place to where just her presence alone will be pivotal in a remarkable change on Earth. And so, anyways, that's where my game's headed. I like selfish. Selfish is kind of nice. Yeah,
definitely. Well, I got a little share, and it's funny because one of my other best friends, I'm not going to say her name, so I don't have that permission yet.
Yeah, I said Betty. You
I know you.
Under the bus. Shout out to you.
I appreciate you.
Shout out to Betty. But I was talking to my homegirl, and she was kind of like a peer counseling thing, and I asked her, do you identify as an addict? And she said, yeah. I said, can I ask why? And she said, well, because I don't have any control over my addiction. And I said, that's interesting. So how long have you been clean? And she told me the length of time. And it's quite a significant length of time. And she's in a program, and she's doing all the things, and she's doing great. And she's got her license, and she's had her license for the first time in a lot of years. And so I asked her again, I said, so who's doing all those things while not using? And she, well, me. I said, so how can you agree with your own narrative when your actions contradict what your narrative is? Your narrative is that you have no control over this thing, but your actions are actually showing you have full control over your ability because you are extremely successful in your recovery, and you're not going backwards, and you're living your best life, and you have your kid, and all these things. And so I was like, do you mind if I ask you another question? She said, yeah, of course. I said, do you identify as an addict who does not have control over her addiction? And she says, well, not now, I don't.
Sure.
Right.
And I thought to myself, well, look at that.
Right.
Sometimes we agree to a narrative so wholeheartedly, we don't even actually look at the logic behind that agreement. We're just regurgitating someone else's narrative that's been there for so long, but our actions are literally contradicting our own narrative. Challenge your narratives. Whose voice is that? Did you write that narrative? Or did somebody else give it to you? You, a long time ago, agreed to it and never went back and rechecked it and revalidated if that narrative is still fitting for you.
I was like, food for thought here. So as children, right, we're raised to look at somebody that's older than us. When they tell us something, we are told to agree with them. Okay? So now we go to kindergarten, right? And we're in kindergarten, and we're told that teacher that's at school, she's going to tell you something, and you're going to agree to everything that she says to you all damn day. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever reflected on this, but when I was in high school, I had teachers that were in the early 20s. Okay?
Right.
So, like, what the hell?
Right.
So those people were telling me things, and through the systems and structures, I was looking at them going, okay, I agree. And then we become adults, and we get so tripped up in these agreements that are just absolutely purely false and forced upon us. So part of the blueprint agreement, really kind of interesting, but the final sentence that we always say, and it's like a prayer, it's like an affirmation, okay? We are what we agree to. So if you want to be any of the things that people have told you that you are, you can absolutely be that and stay that way forever.
And conversely, if you want to stop being what somebody has said for you,
Flip it in
if you want
reverse.
to stop being that abusive person, if you want to stop being that rug, or if you want to stop being that no good addict that everyone says you are, stop agreeing that you are and start agreeing that there's more for you, that you have the power to be your own author. Start giving yourself permission to be other than the narrative that you've been just reciting.
Right.
It's like a script drilled into you, and the movie's long over. Like, if nobody's even watching that show no more, you're still stuck in that role that somebody scripted for you.
Yeah, a lot of the time too, I'm like, people want you to pay like reparations, or they want you to be accountable, right? So that's why they keep you on that. You were this, that is who you are, because they themselves need some sort of gratification, or their story isn't done with you, so they need you to prove to them something. But imagine this. Imagine if you just decided that you're not going to do that anymore, and that you're going to go ahead and be something that you agree to. So let's say you were an addict, right? And now you're sober. Don't you think being sober would be a way better way of paying reparations to everybody around you and everybody that you've harmed, including yourself? Like, that seems like the agreement that would perpetuate actual healing and development. So it's kind of one of those, like, stop, think about it, change it up, system and structures, super duper made to fail. And we don't have to be a part of that anymore. We can just say, I am what I agree to, and I am deciding that today is the day that I do that. And I don't owe anybody anything. And when I go forward, if my growth and progression is really nice and you enjoy it, man, have at it. Have a slice of pie.
How about we let Thrett read the blueprint agreements? It'll be the first time he's ever read them on air.
No, I haven't read it.
Come on, use that radio voice for something good.
Yeah, radio voice. I couldn't read it right now because I'll be stumbling and fumbling.
Oh, that's okay.
You know,
totally, I hear you.
But I will say, Carla McCarley says, center yourself, and she said 100%. One of the things that I do want to say, because I do want to tap into Mari and check out the outline when you guys break it down.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Pie Talk podcast on YouTube, and sometime after that it'll be on other platforms. But if you want to catch it on YouTube, see us right here in the studio doing our thing. Me and Priscilla are breaking down a blueprint to recovery philosophy, and we're reading the agreements, and we're breaking down the entirety behind what that means and what it represents, what it means for Pi, and what it means moving forward with like support groups and just a all-inclusive pathway to recovery. You can still do your other paths of recovery and embrace this one. That's how open-minded our path of recovery is. It's not like you got to do this and you have to do this, and this, or else you're not following the blueprint. You can literally alter it. You can alter the agreements for that they fall within your narrative.
Yeah, I was like, the episode that you guys are going to get to see tomorrow, it's like soul rich. It's soul-tastic. I mean, it is, to me, it was like it came out of us like spirit, you know, and it was really fun to share it. Something that I definitely started to spark in my mind after we recorded it was that the blueprint, I'm about to start plastering it all over this damn city. I'm going to leave it everywhere because I do believe that it is a universal, impeccable agreement that can be applied anywhere, any day, any time. So if you guys want the blueprint, let us know, and we will make sure to send you a copy. I do believe even if you're just like lost in parenting or like your family right now isn't doing so hot, I would post this thing up on the wall. And if anybody has a question about how to navigate a situation, I would say, why don't you go over there and read that for a minute and then let me know what your opinion
My
is.
blueprint's in the frame at the house.
Mine's going to be in the frame at my place, too.
I'm like, I found one in my daughter's little backpack. She had it
She's 4.
folded up. And I was like, look at her. She's already on top of
Ready.
it.
Carla McCarley said all nations, all circles, all tribes. We agree to that 100%.
100%.
One of the things that Thrett's going to say
100%.
is I got a philosophy. I just came up with that the other day. My philosophy is grow in your shit. You know?
Yes!
The reason why, and what made me come up with that grow in your shit, I'm going to give me a shirt made grow in your shit.
I love
The reason
that.
why is because when we smell roses and we see vegetables and we see many things, a lot of stuff is grown through horse manure.
No,
some
it
type
all
of manure.
is. It all is
It's all
grown
about
in
I
doo-doo.
live right down the street from where the mushroom farm
Yes.
used to be. I know what it
Growing
is.
shit,
Smelling
man.
doo-doo my whole
Right,
life.
and you got the most freshest, brightest plants, trees, and everything else that comes from that. So sit in your shit
See this?
and manifest
Oh,
your stuff.
my
Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
goodness.
We all in this shit together.
I
Yeah,
have
but
to.
let's grow.
I have to tell you, like, this is really epic. I hope you really do make that shirt.
Oh, I am.
I know that is
I'm making it
impeccable.
tomorrow.
And I'm like, for real?
You got to put pie on the back and grow in your
You did shit.
You know
Grow
how
your
much
itch.
you
on the
have
front.
to actually
Yeah.
pay? You have to pay a
Yes.
lot of money
Yeah.
for high quality
You
dude
do.
for farm. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, you do.
It is one of the
Yeah.
most coveted things out there is actual earthly shit.
You guys
to
heard
make
it
sure-
live on Pie Talk.
And you are in your worst shit
You
ever.
are!
It's time to grow.
Oh!
It's time to grow.
PG-13, growing your dookie.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
right.
Yeah, sorry. Whoops.
Growing your ish.
Oh
Growing your
my
dookie.
God.
Growing your poop
Oh,
emoji.
somebody said, Aulani McLeod. I hope I got that
Oh,
right.
that's the homie. Yeah.
Okay.
How you doing?
Aulani McLeod said, I would love one.
Good.
You have one.
You have one.
Growing your
Let us
itch.
know, like, when you guys see our merch, when you see our GoFundMe, just go there, help support us. We're doing this out of pocket. We're working hard jobs. We're paying taxes. We're doing what we got to do. But we believe wholeheartedly in this mission that 5 of us came together to create this LLC like the Avengers. Like, we're trying to really bring something powerful, and all the certifications between us, we got it all in one-stop shop. We're missing like 1 or 2 pieces,
We'll
but
get
positive Indian parenting, I got that. You know, I've been really digging into my Blackfeet, Blackfoot, historical, like my lineage. We did the blood test. Me and my brother, we've been doing a lot of different things. You know, I've been blessed to have 2 aunties, you know, indigenous warrior aunties in my life, Jerry Muma, Steph Tompkins, that are also my mentors. This has been, like, all of 23 was a spiritual, it was pie for me. It was me pursuing eternal evolution to the fullest. One of the greatest wishes that I had that came true was actually this, was making a team of people that were not living my dream or pushing my agenda, but we are all parallel on the same dream and decided, well, why not do this together? Because now it's not just about me and what I believe could be great. We are all living in the same dream. We are all pushing the same agenda. We all want the same things. We all want justice-impacted families to get better services. We all want post-reunification parenting classes to be a thing and not just parenting classes.
Right.
Because post-reunification parenting is a lot different than just regular parenting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Getting out of prison after a long time and all you've been doing is seeing your kid in the visit room, structured with guards,
Yeah.
co-parenting with you, so we're, you know, and then coming home to either a spouse or a girlfriend or to your own place and having to visit them in real time. That type of parenting is different than regular parenting. And we specialize in that type of parenting because we lived it.
And
We're living it.
the other thing that I really want to offer out to the community right now is that you do not have to be court ordered to participate in what we are offering. I think sometimes some things that are overlooked is like there are the people that are left behind. There are the parents of the children that are addicts, you know, and they want to be there in their 40-something-year-old son's life right now, but they maybe don't know how to do it, how to be a supportive person. And so I think we are also a resource for anybody and everybody out there that is impacted by any of these given situations. So it's not just for the people that are mandated to come and try to facilitate this sort of learning. It's anybody that has questions about how to navigate this sort of trauma.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yeah, go to Pie Talk Podcast Facebook page, like, share, but also we're trying to perpetuate this. And the only way we can do it is with followers because, you know, YouTube has their thing. Help us get our followers up. Just go and subscribe. Watch one. If it's not for you, cool. Subscribe, though. It's free. Share with your people that really want to embody this pursuing eternal evolution philosophy. We have great content. We have great, authentic, non-scripted content about being the best version of yourself. We are touching on all different races, creeds, religions, whether it's tribal, whether it's this, that, or the other. We don't discriminate. If you want to come on our show as a guest, shoot us a message. PieTalkPodcast@gmail.com. If you want a copy of the blueprint agreements to read for yourself, let us know. We'll get you a copy. Either way, like, we're here for you. We're here for ourselves. When we do the podcast, we grow during the recording.
Whole time.
It's
I
lovely.
just grew. I grew like,
Yeah.
like 6 inches up in here, man.
We just grew this dookie.
Right. Just sprouting.
Dookie.
Little sprouting.
I'm
a sprouter.
So much.
Yeah, man. It's good though.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
I'm like, well, thank you to everybody. I gotta.
I know we could just keep going. This could be like a 4-hour podcast, but
Right. I
it
do
is
need
Sunday.
to say thank you though, for real, to these two gentlemen next to me. It's an absolute honor.
What
to
do you
be-
call a gentleman?
I know exactly. I bet a lot of people out there would think differently, but to me, they are gentlemen,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate that. I think what's really funny is B and I like to come.
Come on now.
Shout out to
Hey,
you.
you want to come in now, man? That's promotion right there. Come on now.
Right. But B and I, we like swarmed in the same circles, okay? And every time I have engaged with somebody and they've been like, wait, who are you talking about? You talking about B. Willis, like from our city, from Lacey? And I'm like, yes. And they'll be like, how the hell did you two, what in the world? Why are you two are doing what?
Yeah.
And it is just pure, beautiful earth, like universal connection and honesty that I get to sit next to these two gentlemen and that I actually believe in their current narratives. It's a beautiful
it's
thing
a
to
perfect
participate
storm.
in. It absolutely
It's like
is.
the perfect contrast, but is it a contrast?
No, it's
Because
like
the
this-
synergy
yeah.
is like, this is Thrett's first time meeting Priscilla in person.
Crazy too, because I feel like I've known him forever and he's
Yeah,
not his friend,
100%.
especially your doo-doo shirt. Your doo-doo shirt doesn't warm my heart.
It's going down. It's going down.
Yeah.
It's like my phone did.
And I bet
God.
people will watch this and think that we scripted it, but no.
Yeah.
This is Thrett's first time in person meeting Priscilla. Obviously, we're all business cohorts,
Mhm.
so we talk in group chat and group
Sure.
text, and we collaborate a lot, of our thoughts. But this is their first meeting. This is his first time in the studio
Yeah.
of something that he's a part of. Like that's how busy our schedules are.
Do you know what? I'm like, this is as organic as your doo-doo, okay? So, like, absolutely. And we are literally all growing in this organic manner. It's
We are.
nice.
It
We're
really is.
pretty little flowers.
Yeah. I'm gonna be a pretty little flower today.
Yeah.
You know? I'm gonna be a
Just
pretty
like
little
this
flower.
tree.
Right, they're gonna run us right there.
Make
So,
sure
yeah.
if y'all want y'all shirts, drop some links. Let us know. We get y'all some shirts ordered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? $25 a pop. They got the big back piece. Hold them to turn around.
And they go with any outfit.
Hey.
Any set
Yeah.
of shoes. It's been really cool to
Hey,
watch.
look, I done wore this. I done wore one with red shoes and a red hat.
Yeah.
Now I got these. I got the blue shoes
Look
with the
at
blue
that.
red
Class.
with the blue shirt.
Boom, that's the red now.
Oh,
It's real deal.
Yeah, I definitely need to be a Puma representative.
Right, come on now.
Let's get that deal. We'll launch Pie Talk like nothing.
Yeah.
I know.
Get the Puma endorsement.
Yeah.
Right. We
Puma.
used to be on the
That's
run.
just a Puma. Make sure you do that.
But yeah, let us know. We're working with some people. Big shout out to CPC Stuff and Things, Cliff Coates, for printing up our merch. And I think he's working on a link for us. So you should be able to just, pretty soon, we talked about it, pretty confirmed, I'd say 90% confirmed, he'll have a link to where you'll be able to go right to his store and order our merch, which is like a blessing. People like that are our community partners. Shout out to No Chill Jill,
Yeah.
Union Cooking and Consulting. Integral part of this coming together and looking forward to her cooking and consulting classes through Pie Talk Community Connections.
My local EpiPen provider, because we are absolutely allergic to tea. That was one of my favorite things out of No Chill Chill. She was like, get that away.
Yeah.
Like, I just love her advocacy. I think she's a brilliant woman. And No Chill Jill, she provides actual internal nourishment. And that's something to really consider when we're pursuing internal evolution. What are you feeding yourself, okay? Yeah, she'll help you out. So,
Shout out Peer Olympia, shout out Innovations,
yes.
HTC, like partners, mentors, big, huge community impact. Tell them where to find you at, Threat, before we get out of here.
Thrett Brown, Google me.
Yeah.
I'll throw that out there. THRETT Brown, Google me. And also shout out to Nubo 3 for marrying. We marry into a relationship. So this new business endeavor that we're connected to right now, Nubo 3, Nubo3.com actually is just, check us out on there, and it'll show people how to marry into a lifestyle that you want to truly associate yourself with. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm currently marrying into this relationship of business, married into this relationship of service providing. I'm married into another narrative of my life, and I'm thriving in it. I done made my vows and commitments,
I love
and I said I do.
Yeah,
So
I do.
Right.
Another big one too. We gotta say thank you so much to keep
course.
us going. I mean, we really appreciate you, Joshua Smith and Jordan Davis. It's kind of funny because you can keep up and going, and you can grow in your doo-doo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
And for sure, if you want it, .org.
all
It's
these
another
things.
nonprofit partnership that we have going. Another nonprofit that I'm proud to be a part of. And again, it's geared towards justice impacted individuals coming home, needing reentry, mentorship, and peer support, and resource navigation, all these different things. All these people in the community that are doing these things, we're trying to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
There is no competition.
No.
There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this time around we opened an LLC for different purposes. However, sliding scale.
Yeah.
If you can't afford anger management and the judge is making you do it, come holler at us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll figure it out.
Also, the door is wide open for community connections. We want everybody and anybody to feel free to come on over and to join us, because this really is not a competition. I just don't have that about me. There's no way that I could be in competition with anybody except for myself.
Yeah.
So please join us in the unity that we are all creating. And in fact, let's try to make a tribe.
Mhm.
I think that would be really nice.
Pie tribe.
A pie tribe.
And also, if you're a younger person that's seeking entrepreneurship development, and you
13 and 24.
yes, ybmw1080.org. You guys can look us up, and it all ties in together. So, youth empowerment is my go-to 100% of the time. And so tying the young adults into these opportunities as well, they also will be receiving a slice of pie as well. So, I'm with 100%.
Yeah, multi-tier service, everybody. We got pies for everybody.
A pie for everybody.
Yeah.
Please make sure you guys tap into the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit that bell so that you get notifications. We are establishing probably once a week drop, maybe 2 if you're lucky, but for sure you can look for us at least once a week for a full episode of Pie Talk Podcast. This was actually an impromptu thing. We all met up really to give Thrett his shirts and to talk a little business.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm like, hey, let's go live.
Might as well, right?
And just the energy we have, everybody was like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
So,
Like right before we duck out too, this is another little shout out to our new episodes. They've got a little bit more of a structure. There's some things going on. They're an hour long, so we got more happening. But the concept of philanthropy is something that's out on the table, and that's what we're all doing right now. But in addition, I really want to know what you all are doing in the community, and or who you know and what they're doing in the community.
yeah, just nominate somebody.
Please, I
Drop
would
a
love to
picture
hear.
and a story in Pie Talk Podcast Facebook page. That's the best place for that. Or Pie Talk Community Connections Facebook public group. Any of those 2 spaces is ideal if you want to nominate somebody for doing something super dope in the community, in your family.
Yeah.
If you just witnessed somebody do something awesome as a parent, PTA, whatever, we'll give them a shout out in our philanthropy segment on the show. Let us know what it is. Shout out Black History Month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're honoring all of our cultures, and big shout out to the history. I have that in me. Thrett, obviously.
I got a little bit of that in me too.
Little bit.
Also, the 24th of this month is a Saturday. We having a Youth Unity event at Evergreen Tacoma campus. Follow me on my social media, Thrett Brown, on Facebook, or the Thrett Brown on Instagram.
He's tagged in this video.
Yes,
I'll leave
so
it
follow
up,
that
so.
thing and follow our link. We're doing a Youth Unity event for Black History Month at Evergreen Tacoma.
Very cool.
So yeah, check it out, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for
Any
adding
more shout outs?
some of. I just want to thank
Shout
all
out
of
to
you.
y'all.
Yeah,
Shout out
thank
to
you
y'all
you.
for watching.
Everybody is an ingredient in our pie, So thank you so much for participating and for helping us pursue internal evolution.